William McKinley, our 25th president, was backed by big money interests due to the frightening policies that William Jennings Bryan was advocating with the unlimited coinage of the money supply. But the main event for McKinley was not going to be domestic politics, it was going to be America's involvement in another war. Benjamin Harris was the last general of the Civil War to become president, but McKinley was actually the last president to have served in the Civil War. He was also the only president that enlisted in the Civil War and rose to become an officer with the rank of major. William McKinley was born on January 29th, 1843, in Niles, Ohio. Niles is just outside of Youngtown, or about 250 miles southeast of Cleveland. His childhood was normal and would first attend Allegheny College in Medville, Pennsylvania. But he would end up getting ill and he would return home for a short while. After he recovered, his family couldn't afford for him to go back to college. When the Civil War broke out, he and his cousin volunteered as privates. He faced numerous battles and would rise to the rank of major after enlisting as a private. After the war, he studied law in Ohio and New York and would be admitted to the Ohio bar in 1867. He moved to Canton, Ohio, a little over an hour south of Cleveland, at least in a private vehicle, in a modern day vehicle, on well paved roads. Well, at least paved roads. He began a practice with an associate, and it was successful, allowing him to invest in property. His first electoral position was when he ran for prosecuting attorney and won, even though Democrats were usually the ones that were elected there. He lost his reelection, however, by 143 votes in 1871. He eventually would meet Ida Saxton, and they would marry in 1871. They had two children. Both died early, and his wife suffered from depression and ill health all her life. They had no more children, and he was devotedly attended to her needs, and she encouraged him to continue with his career. There was a mine strike, and McKinley defended the workers of that mine strike. He got all of them acquitted except one, and that hugely raised his profile amongst the laborers. McKinley ran for Congress and won. However, this affected his income because his congressional salary was not near what he was making as a lawyer. He served on the Republican National Committee and took a major role in its affairs. He was considered to be one of the leading Republican politicians in Ohio. Anytime the Ohio legislature was controlled by the Democrats, they attempted to gerrymander him out of his district. The first time it failed, but the second time it worked. The third time he won again, despite the gerrymandering. McKinley then ran for governor and won. The governor of Ohio had little power like other governors in the nation, but it gave him national exposure. McKinley had loaned and signed notes guaranteeing certain money and certain interests for his friends, especially Robert Walker. But Walker lied to McKinley for the whole time, and this put McKinley in debt for about $100,000. $3.5 million in today's money. He was going to resign as governor so he could return to his law practice and pay these debts back. But his financial friends came to the rescue and took over the debts. His whole idea of becoming broke because of his friends led to sympathy for McKinley, and he easily won re-election by a huge majority. This was all due to the economic panic of 1893 and the economic depression that lasted almost 5 years. In 1896, he was nominated as the Republican nomination for the president. This was particularly due to other candidates just bowing out, and Harrison also decided not to run. He easily received the nomination, and his vice president nomination would be Garrett Hobart, a politician from New Jersey. The Democrats picked William Jennings Bryan. Bryan scared the business community, but he was a powerful speaker. Bryan had less than $500,000 for the election. McKinley had millions. Bryan ran a whistle-stop tour around the country. McKinley gave speeches from his front porch. In the end, McKinley received 271 electoral votes, won 23 states, and won 51% of the popular vote. Bryan received 176 electoral votes, won 22 states, and received 46.7% of the popular vote. McKinley won by around 600,000 votes. During his inaugural address, McKinley said he wanted no wars of conquest or territorial aggressions. That did not work out in the end. The Cuban people were trying to gain independence from Spain for decades. America had been looking to expand into Cuba for decades. Americans overall generally supported Cuban independence. McKinley wanted a peaceful approach to the matter, but that wasn't to be. McKinley sent the USS Maine to the area in February 1898. The Maine exploded and 266 men were killed. It was said back then that it was a Spanish mine. Today we don't believe that. We think that the boilers blew up. Congress declared war on Spain on April 20th, 1898. We rapidly destroyed the Spanish fleet in the Philippines in the Battle of Manila Bay. Meanwhile, we invaded Cuba and defeated the Spanish forces in the Battle of San Juan Hill. We also invaded Puerto Rico with little resistance. A treaty called the Treaty of Paris was signed. For $20 million, about $800 million in today's money, we obtained the Philippines, Guam, and Puerto Rico. In 1898, we also annexed Hawaii. McKinley also sent 5,000 troops to China during the Boxer Rebellion, a rebellion in China that was targeting foreigners and foreign influences. McKinley also paved the way for the Panama Canal, but he was assassinated before it was completed. McKinley was fairly popular and easily won the Republican nomination for presidency, and Theodore Roosevelt was chosen to be his vice president. McKinley needed a new vice president since Vice President Hobart had died in 1899. The Democrats nominated William Jennings Bryan again, and it was to be a rematch. But William McKinley easily won, getting 292 electoral votes, winning 28 states, and receiving 51.6% of the popular vote. Bryan received 155 electoral votes. He won 17 states and received 45% of the popular votes. McKinley won by just under 1 million votes. His victory would not last long, however. On September 6, 1901, an assassin shot McKinley twice in the abdomen, and he died on September 14, 1901. He was 58 years old. The assassin was convicted, given the death sentence, and electrocuted on October 29, 1901. McKinley's wife died on May 26, 1907, at the age of 59. If you like these videos, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks for listening.